Welcome. The purpose of today's video is just to show you how simple it is to do your W-2s using the Atrix eFile solution. From your software, you would select Federal Filing, and under your Federal Filing selection screen, you would select W-2, W-3. Pick the year you're filing for, make sure the EIN you're looking to file for is correct, and hit Display. That's now reaching out and gathering up all the paycheck data for that time frame, that entire year, and loading it up into a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet is going to be what you're going to use to review the data, be able to make changes as necessary. It's also running our error checking process to make sure that you're going to have the correct data and that you're not over limits or that you don't have a bad Social Security number. The first set of questions are like any wizard or any kind of setup process. It's just to clarify what type of filer you are. The first option is, are you just testing it out? Are you giving it a ride to see how things go? Or are you actually ready to file your W-2s? In this case, we're going to say we're ready. It's going to ask you to confirm that EIN number because obviously that's the company you're filing for. That's the data that's going to be loaded. It'll confirm this information from your company, address, that type of information, because that's what's going to show up on your W-2. Am I filing for myself, or am I an accountant filing for a third party, for a different company? In this case, filing for myself. This is a list of all of the states that we're going to file for you and their account number. If there's an error in format or something that doesn't look correct, we will warn you, and you'll have to check that, make sure it's correct. In this case, we have quite a few states, quite a few locals loaded up. Obviously, we all know if you file in Pennsylvania, you get to comply with Pennsylvania Act 32. Act 32 is certainly handled by our product. You're going to have to pick the tax bureau that you're filing for, and if you need to add that account number and TSD, you certainly do that as well. A series of questions, again, just to verify data for our error checking process. Do you have people who are exempt? Do you have employees with tips? Do you have any with a foreign address? Do you want to assign control numbers? If you have some employees that have selected electronic delivery only, you're going to have to say yes or no. If it's already set up, you already have their emails, everything's in there, it's going to default to yes, so you don't have to answer that question. W-3 information is pretty straightforward. What kind of filer you are. Most of you are 941 filers. If you want to establish control numbers, this is where you would do it. If you have a third-party sick pay or something else that is managed and controlled outside of your payroll software that you need to add for W-2s, you'll need to check that box, and it'll give you the ability to upload that information, so it'll go directly into the box that it's required to go in. If you are a restaurant or a large company with multiple divisions and you have separate payroll for each of these sites, you're going to want to say yes, multiple payroll data. You would go through these one at a time, and at the end, then it'll merge them. In this case, I just have a single company, so I'm going to move forward. It's now actually loading up that grid. This should look familiar to you. It's a spreadsheet. Everybody's seen one, knows how to use it. It works exactly like any spreadsheet you've used. You can select a column, select an individual. You can make changes that you may need to. First step here is to review your employee data. If you had a bad Social Security number, a format that was incorrect or something, that would be highlighted in red, and you'd have to fix that before going forward. We give you this opportunity. Say Jennifer had gotten married, you hadn't gotten around to changing her last name in your software. You could change it here, make a note for yourself, change it in your software when you're done. Next step, you're going to go through, it's going to check box 13 status for, retirement, third-party stuff, just to make sure that if you have people with that information, we're doing the proper error checks. This is the state wages. I have a whole bunch of states in here, so there's quite a bit of data. You can scroll off to the right and you'd see a number of extra columns. They're all box 16, box 17. That information, again, is going to be verified against limits and all of that. If there's no red boxes here and no warning, then they meet that standard and are simply up to your discretion to say, yep, that looks correct, and that verifies against their number. We put this in here to show you what happens if you do have an error. In this case, it's warning us that the local taxes that are being held don't match the state withholding. We did that intentionally so that you can see what it would do. First, it's going to give you a warning. It's going to tell you why you're getting the warning, and it's going to highlight in red those items that need to be fixed. In this case, this is what we call a non-fatal error, and you may decide that, yes, it may look a little funky to our error checking, but those totals are correct, and we're going to move forward because this filing would not be rejected because of this type of error. If there's an error that would require the federal or any of the states to reject your filing, it's going to be what we call a fatal error, and it will not let you move forward until you correct it. In this case, I'm just going to continue forward. Now you simply select the level of service that you're looking for. We obviously recommend that complete service where we're going to print and mail your employee copies directly to them. We're going to host them online so that your employees can get them immediately if they choose to, or if their dog eats one, they can get their replacement and print it themselves. Going to file a W-2, W-3 to the feds. Going to file the state W-2s and any reconciliation forms that may be required by that state. And we're going to handle those electronic delivery only items for those people that don't need a paper W-2 and have chosen electronic delivery only. All of that is included in the price of this service. Once you've agreed, $113.13, you would click forward. We offer a CD for an archive. If you want a hard copy like this so that you can put it in a safe off-site or something like that, you certainly can. Obviously, all of this information is saved on your local server or your local machine and is available at any time. This is a list of the states that we're going to file for. In this case, I have a whole bunch of them. So in the interest of saving some time, I'm going to deselect them and just select one of them here. I'll say we'll pick Colorado here, and then we'll move forward. Do you want to include divider sheets? Sounds a little weird, but we're going to give you the ability to print your employer copies, copies of the feds, copy of your state filings. If you want to put a piece of paper in between so you don't have to sort them at the end, you can certainly do that. In this case, I'm not going to print them anyway, so we'll just go forward. This is a summary of exactly what we're going to file for you. Now, if I had selected all of those states, each of those states that have a filing requirement would also be listed in here. You can print a copy of this so you have confirmation in your hand. This is what got done. This is what's being done. Or you can simply move forward. This is now getting ready to display the actual replica of the forms so that you can get a look at them physically if you'd like to. This is the employer W-2 copy. I can go up here and click on pages. I can go right through them if I'd like and review each one. It's going to ask me if I want to print them. I'm going to say no. We're going to move on. Now this is going to be the federal W-2s that are going to be shown. Same thing. I can scroll over there and look at every single one if that's what I want to do. Move forward. Now we have the federal W-3. Quick peek at that. Verify that it's the same totals that you saw in the grid, same totals that you have in your software. You can move forward or print it. Now it's going to go off and connect to the Atrix eFile Center to get this process going. This would be the username and password that you have established at efile.atrix.com when you set your account up. And it's the same for any companies or any filings that you're doing, so you don't have a whole bunch of different ones. Again, it's going to say, hey, is this the company you're talking about? This is the taxpayer. This is the information you want on it. If that's correct, you go forward. Now it's uploading all that file information. Says, hey, the total cost of this filing, $113.13. You have the option with our software to select the date that you want your employee copies mailed. You can select the date that you want your W-2, W-3 Fed filings filed. And you can set the date for your state filings. We all know that these deadlines vary. The advantage to this, of course, is if you give out your W-2s to your employees, you know quite often somebody will come back to you and say, hey, this isn't quite right, or this needs to be changed. If you make those changes before the other filings have been sent, you can go and send us a new filing, make those changes free of charge. And then when it comes time, or nearer that deadline, then those filings will be made on your behalf. It tells you here that the W-2 employee copies, when we mail them out, when you send us that file, they will be postmarked the next business day from the time that you have set that up. If you've set up a day that you want it to go out, it'll be postmarked that day. Credit card information to pay the $113, confirmation that in fact we've received that payment, it's ready to go. Then we're going to assign that an AFID number, which is a unique number for that filing. You can call us, call our support. You can go to helpme@atrix.com. You can do a live chat from efile.atrix.com by clicking on help. Any of those processes, you'll want to have this number. It'll be in a confirmation email in your efile.atrix.com account, as well as having it right here, because that allows us to go directly to your filing and save a whole lot of time. That's really all there is to filing your W-2s with the Atrix eFile Center. Go ahead and give us a holler at efile.atrix.com at any time. Click on the help button. There are multiple ways to get a hold of us. We do not charge for support. That's how simple our process is. Thank you.